Yo, what's up, man? What's good, Zeke?
What's up, Rich, man? How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing good. It's a good day. I kind of have a burning question for you,
What's up?
and it's one of your old questions.
Yeah.
I'm flipping it back to you.
Okay. Wait on me.
You have to swap friends with your best. You have to swap bodies with your best friend for a day. What are you doing?
Do you want the short answer or the long answer?
I want the long answer, especially since I know your best friend.
I'm going to wake up. I'm going to body slam the closest person I see. Then I'm going to get in my car and drive, let's say 45 miles out, random direction.
Okay.
I'm going to walk into the nearest Walmart, purchase one can of spray paint, and write, "He was here." And then get back in the car, don't fill up the tank, drive as far as I can to the base before I run out of gas, get out the car, knock myself out, and wait for us to switch. Would you like the short answer?
I do want that short answer now.
I'd probably just take a nap.
Just most of the day. Okay, but he's good at video games though.
I don't think I would, bro. I think I think that has to be his mentality, bro. Like I couldn't. I'm not good at video games. I can admit that. If this is a space, is this a safe space?
This is a very safe space. You're open. You can be
I
open.
suck at video games.
No, really?
Hey, listen here, okay? It's not a it's not a, "Oh, yeah, Zeke, you suck at video games because you suck at video games." It's like a, "Yeah, Zeke, you suck at video games because you never try to get better at them." I'm one of those people who accepts the base skill level for a game, and I won't go higher. I know who I am,
I don't know if you won't go higher. You definitely don't like to warm up, though. I started getting you to warm up.
and did nothing for me.
It does nothing for you. I
I
don't understand.
I can't do it. It's like warming up just makes me sleepier. Makes me wanna get off the game faster. I've been shooting these bullets for all this time. Like, I'm done. I'm done. Apex, you can't have me. You can't have me. I'm free.
Can't have me.
Yeah. But
Leave me alone.
just to throw all of that away because obviously this is still a podcast. And guys, we did prepare topics for you. Um, Rich, what would you do if you were in that situation?
Well, if I was in my best friend's body, I think first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to feed him through 4 meals that day
Because he doesn't eat.
because he does not
He
eat.
does not eat.
Nope.
Not one bit.
He does not eat, not even a little.
Oh man.
And then I'm going to abuse his athleticism just
Yeah.
like a little bit because I'm 260 and he is far from 260.
Yeah, he's more like
So
180.
yeah, he's more like 180. Actually, he just went 190. So I'm
Jeez,
like, ooh,
really?
I know, right? 10
Yo,
pounds is crazy.
that's insane.
So, and I would do human flag poles. I'd do those 520 spinning kicks that they do in animes.
Right,
Like,
right.
I'm trying as much as I can because I'm not carrying that much weight. I'm sure that's gonna feel really interesting. And then I think I would go to a Bible study because I would kind of wonder if I would feel his connection to religion
Mhm.
through his body,
Yeah.
or if I'm going to feel it because I guess my soul or my spirit is in his body,
Have you ever
and
gone to a
like
Bible study
if I'm
before?
gonna feel any differently. I have 2 times.
Yeah. Were they his? Like you went to with him?
No, I went to one with like my folks a while back, and then I went to one because I knew a guy in the gym, and I was like, my rival and I are gonna go. Or my rival said he was gonna go, I might as well go too. So I went, and I was very you ever felt spiritual pressure like in Bleach?
Yeah.
That part. That's all it felt like, and it was really interesting. It was cool.
Was it
So
cool
I would do
because
that.
you felt like the only person in the room, or was it cool because like you were just in a space you hadn't been to before?
Space I hadn't been in before, and I think the coolest part was that I wasn't the only one in the room. Like I couldn't feel alone because everyone
Mhm.
was like spiritually present. I mean, people are falling asleep with their Bibles in their hands.
That's interesting. I was raised in that kind of space, and of course you know this, but for our listeners who don't know me very well, I was raised in a kind of split household between the church and the mosque. So I always got a bit of both worlds. And I found that
Wow.
I hated Bible study, but only because I don't like to study as it was, like as it is. Like me studying is a chore that will never get finished. It's just almost impossible. So to sit down and read
Yeah,
the biggest book, I was very uninterested as a child. It never struck me as interesting, but
never struck you as interesting. Never, it never would. You're asked to sit down and read a book and feel the book.
and feel the book, yeah. And as a kid, that's very difficult. I think that
Very difficult.
it makes a lot of sense that we're seeing this really big climb back to Christ, so to speak, um, from a lot of the people in our age group now. Like a lot of people, I think, are headed towards this religious awakening, and I think a lot of it has to do with our frontal cortex. Like frontal cortex is just developing. Like that frontal lobe
Hmm.
is like actually aware. It's like, hey, maybe kind of approaching that center of like ethical judgment and like policy past myself is essential to being a functional human.
Human being.
Yeah,
That's very true.
like that really just makes sense to me. It doesn't make sense to be a devout Christian or a devout Muslim or a devout Buddhist or any of those things before you reach the age of maybe 18 to 21, because what is there for you to know that you already seriously don't know? Like you're so away from the concept of society and civility,
Mm,
it just doesn't make sense to approach it with realness. And if you do, I wonder sometimes if it's out of fear more than dedication, or even just the pressure or the responsibility that's is applied to you from like your parental spaces and things like that, because it's
hmm.
available to you. Sorry, what a rant. But um,
What a rant. What a question. What a bar is what
oh
it is.
man.
I mean, I can't even answer the question because my brain is like looking for an answer through all the doors.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'd lie to say I intended to talk about it that hard. I think it's just always something in my head. It woke my brain up.
While it's in your head and you're spitting your bars, I think
Right.
we should go ahead and get to the question of the day,
We absolutely should.
and kind of segue into some more, I guess the word isn't scary, the more is familiar
Yeah.
conversation. I posed a question on my Instagram. If you miss it, that's fine. If you don't miss it, thank you. We asked about 10 billion people and only six answered. Other 10 billion, skill issue.
Skill
It's okay.
issue. It's all good.
So our my question of the day was, what, just something simple, what's your favorite scary movie trope? Or your favorite scary movie, or yeah, what's your favorite scary movie trope? And tropes in movies and in genres are just like like the final girl,
Mhm.
where you're in a scary movie and the last girl, who's normally the protagonist, survives
Okay.
the scary monster. Or like creepy clowns is a scary movie trope. We don't like, I don't like that one.
I don't like it either. That's the no-go for me. I
Yeah, you can leave
but
that one alone.
fair warning, I don't believe in scary movies. I don't believe in movies, like, I don't like to watch movies because I don't wanna sit down that long, but really paying somebody to scare me, it's like the same thing as paying someone to punch you in the face. It's not enjoyable. The thrill is not enough for
And it's
me,
not something you do.
and it's not something I do. That is exactly how I feel about it. But with that being said, Rich, go ahead and read off these questions because I would love to hear from someone else.
Yeah, responding. Someone said the unavoidable evil trope, which when you put it like that, that sounds extremely hard.
It does. What is that?
But I think the avoidable evil trope is like Michael Myers, where
Mhm.
like Michael Myers doesn't ever really die, and like no matter how much you run, bro is still walking towards you, like teleporting,
Yeah,
and that's pretty scary.
that is
And I
terrifying.
think it is
Like
also
Pennywise?
unavoidable evil. Yeah, like Pennywise.
Yeah. My cousin, she's, like, obsessed with him. Like, there was this time where, like, everything in her room was Pennywise themed, and I thought it was, like, the coolest and weirdest thing I ever saw. 'Cause what if he
Oh
was real?
no.
Like, what if it's, like, this little Pennywise shrine, I mean, bedroom, would, like, come down and just grab you from, like, the ceiling fan, like, "Ow, ow," just like that. Like, I would tweak, bro.
I'm tweaking
Oh my
out.
gosh.
I'm not staying there.
I'm not.
I
It's
wouldn't.
not happening.
Oh Lord. Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to have extremely bad fear of the night.
Yeah.
I used to have a really bad fear of the night. I cannot sleep
Mhm.
in the complete dark. I couldn't sleep without noise. I couldn't sleep without light. And anytime I was like, just this unavoidable sense of there's someone in your corner
They're in the
and they're looking right at you.
they're in the walls.
Yeah. And I'm phasing through the walls and
Yeah.
out the window. So
That's how you would do. You
that's
just
real.
throw yourself out the walls, like no matter where you are, you just get out the room.
Yeah, I'm just yeeting myself out the walls. Yeah.
I can
That
respect it.
seems like the fast way of getting away.
I mean, yeah, yeah, I can see it. I could really, really see it. I can see it
Yeah,
because sometimes just being in the dark itself is terrifying. I'm not interested.
it
Seriously,
really
not
is. I don't,
interested.
part of it, I don't know if it's like I assume it's a human instinct.
Mhm.
Like humans are scared of the dark. It's like, okay, but why am I scared of the dark? Just
Right.
don't. It's just dark. Everything is still there, right? Right?
Right.
Anyways, another one of the replies we had was humans are the real monsters trope,
Mhm.
which is interesting, but I also don't have a movie off the top of my head that exemplifies that trope, but that just sounds like really interesting. Like I think Annabelle is a very like humans are the real monster trope because they like tortured
Mhm.
Annabelle or something like that, like
I
before she
mean,
became a
even
doll.
something like Monster House.
Or Monster House.
Like
Yeah.
Monster House, yeah. I That was a movie. That was a movie.
Yeah.
Monster House used to have the kids scared, man.
Scared.
Oh my
Shiver me
gosh.
timbers.
Because the thing about Monster House, it looked like anybody's grandma's house. Like that looked like a house you would see at the end of your block. And you couldn't enjoy those houses because somebody there was real mean, real crotchety, and real spooky. And so when it's time to like go up in there and you really want to see what that's like, you end up scaring yourself because all you can think about is the house that instead of carpet has a tongue and it will
And
eat
it'll
you.
eat me.
And it's all because yeah, and it wasn't it because like the wife was protesting them like doing something in front of her house and they filled her like with like concrete
Yeah.
and her ghost possessed the
Possess the
house.
house. Hmm.
That was
Yeah, that's
crazy.
first of all,
That was insane.
that's OD. Concrete? Concrete?
Like
I'm
yo,
I
I couldn't. Oh man,
You're making me
mm,
want to rewatch Monster House
mm-mm.
right now.
It's a really good movie. I was thinking about doing it like kind of like a date night vibe,
Mm,
you know. But honestly, like I've been really fiending for like a movie night with like everybody, like much less a date itself, because I feel like I'm gonna do it anyways. Like me and my girl, we're always watching something together, right?
facts.
But I'm like, I want to do like this really big movie night or something along those lines, just because I won't watch a movie by myself, but I will definitely watch a movie if I'm with you guys, like at least half of it before I fall asleep.
Fact. No, I mean you did watch half of Super Mario Brothers before you fell asleep.
I did.
Okay, I'm exaggerating half. You may have gotten to like 40 minutes, but still, that's progress.
Did we get it? Did we get through that movie?
No, no, we didn't. The first 40
I
minutes
can't
is all
remember.
intro.
Bro, I literally cannot remember that movie to save my life. Like I remember going to sleep. I don't even remember falling asleep. I remember trying to watch. I was like, oh, okay. And waking
Yo.
up.
I think I saw that moment.
I I was like, what am I doing? Like, oh man, me and that couch, man. Oh man, I used to sleep on
Yeah,
that
I missed that
couch.
couch.
And I'm not homeless, like I don't have a house. It was our couch. But like
Mhm.
I just like the couch, man. I would sleep on that couch.
The couch was too
Shout out that
comfortable.
couch,
Shout out
man.
that couch.
It
I hope they
was.
found a new
And
home.
that couch would eat everything you had. You say you don't like the new one?
No, I mean, I don't dislike the new one anymore, but for sleeping,
It was just real stiff.
yeah, because it's just stiff now. So it's like you can sleep on it and you'll be comfortable, but it's not. You can at least sit on this one. The other couch, A1 sleep material, S tier sleep material. Sitting,
High is cute, bro.
no,
Eh, uh-huh. You get up and there was always something from the couch on you and something from you gone. It was like it
traded
traded
you.
you your item. Like if you left your phone in that couch, it would come back with like I don't know, maybe 1,000 specks on your like shirt or something. Like don't wear a white shirt on
Don't
that
wear a white
couch.
shirt. Don't wear a white shirt.
Don't wear a gray
Yeah.
shirt. Don't wear anything that can be smudged or like just be smuggled with things because it will be.
Yeah.
And you will be very upset. But let's do like one more before we move on to the
Okay.
big prompt of the day because I think this would be a good time to talk about it.
Bet. Last one, super quickly. This isn't a trope. I'm still gonna say it. Chucky and Tiffany. Chucky and Tiffany, just like scary dolls in general, no. I'm burning. I'm going scorched earth if I see a scary talking doll talk to me. I'm going scorched earth.
If a doll talks to me in general, it doesn't matter if it's Toy Story or Chucky, it's getting out the window, or Child's Play or Toy Story, it's getting out the window. I don't care if you're Woody, I don't care if you're Chucky, I don't care if you're Annabelle, I don't care if you're doggone, I don't care
I
what
don't
it
care
is.
what it is.
I'll be real with you. Even if if it was Lightning McQueen, it's going out the
Yeah, if
door.
Lightning McQueen is like ka-chow, you're
I'm
getting
not playing
kaha.
those
You know
games.
what I'm saying?
That's just not happening, bro. Like that's unacceptable. Zero intention of like keeping that on you.
Absolutely.
But to just keep on going because it's now time to talk about the big one. It's a few days till Halloween, and obviously we're just talking about those spooky movies. But now I want to go a bit broader and talk about fears themselves. Like just general things, and we can go as far as we want with this. But what are some things that constitute as a fear for you?
I think that fear, for me specifically, fear can go from being very, uh, I guess the word is surface level, like very like avoidable, very
Hmm.
like fears you can get over, to phobias, because I have arachnophobia.
Right.
I hate spiders. I hate spiders. And if you were in my room, you'd see about 10,000 Spider-Man decals. So you can see the
Right.
hypocrisy. But I'm definitely afraid of spiders. But I try and like slowly conquer that fear every a little bit by little
Hmm.
bit. But then you have existential fears like nihilism, like fear of like like nihilism, or like fear of not doing enough in your life, or fear
Hmm.
of rejection, which I think is a partially superficial but partially deeper fear. I
Hmm.
think fear goes in a lot of different directions. I think for me, I'm in a stage of my life where I want to conquer all my fears, but I think I still fear a lot, especially fear of heights or fear of falling. Like I realize how bad my fear of falling is now, to the point where I'm prepared for anyone else to fall off of my balcony, and because I'm prepared to catch them.
Yeah,
I
that
don't like the idea of them falling at all.
I see that. I can see that from you. Like I remember like we'd be chilling on the balcony. It didn't matter what time of night it was, it didn't matter if you were sober or out your mind, intoxicated. You would like always jump up if someone was like too close to the balcony. You're like, I must be ready to catch them. And I'm always like, no one's gonna fall. And you're like, I must be ready. And I'm like, okay. Like there's something you can say to that. It's like I thank you.
You're welcome.
But all state. I totally get it. Are you in good hands? But I totally get it, man. I totally do.
What about you?
But I think for me that when it comes to just fear itself, I have levels to it like you do. Some things are just inconvenient. Like I used to really hate spider webs, but I wasn't scared of them. I just couldn't see them very well. I have poor vision. I couldn't see them. And I hate things on my face. So it was like I would walk into them and it'd be a dewy morning, so they're basically invisible, and you just walk into a
Into a
spider
spider
web.
web.
And that's the worst feeling. That's the very worst feeling because it's like it's in your face, it's in your mouth. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like you're walking into something or not, but it makes you feel constricted. And I just have to say, I would hate to be a bug and to go into a spider web
Literally,
because that feels like a death sentence.
it practically
I
is.
could not do it. Like, oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it is. It is terrifying. I would not want to be a ladybug. Spiders would eat me up.
Ladybug was the first. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can't hate on it,
Yeah,
you know. But to keep talking about fear itself, like I feel that a lot of the time when like decide something is a fear for us, it's really just an inconvenience. Like and we may fear inconvenience, we may fear the stress that comes out of it, but even then, I don't think that's a real fear.
yeah,
Like a lot of the things that are considered fear come from things like trauma, or they come from just the discomfort of being in those positions or anything like that. But part of the human condition is to acknowledge where there is a challenge ahead of you because most times with challenge comes treasure, you
absolutely.
know? So I think that like really pushing that envelope towards just conquering those fears is really good, especially in your 20s because once you get to your 30s, I feel like they're almost concrete.
Yeah,
And that crystalline thinking and space of thought begins to take over. Like if we talk about early psychology, where there was the argument that like the human mind is a lot more fluid in its younger days, and because of it you have just a lot more space to learn, move, and develop. But once you hit the age where your critical period's over, your development period's over, frontal lobe is developed, you then head towards a more rigidity and well a more rigid lifestyle in your ways. You're stuck in your ways, your schedule, your it's just convenient to not be off of autopilot.
absolutely.
And that's what the brain does. Like the brain looks for shortcuts. Every day there's a new shortcut, whether it be something like you turn your flashlight on when you go into a room, or then it turns to just turning on the light bulb when you come in. And things like that eventually take over. But when you are approaching a fear, you have that period between that fluid mindset versus that more rigid and concrete way of being that's approaching you to get it done. Because once it's there, I really think it's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you see people in their 30s, often you kind of question why they think that or why they're so unwilling to
Mhm.
compromise. I ask that about my parents sometimes. I'm like, "Why?" Like, they'll be talking about other people, and I'm like, "Well, why not just do it?" Like, it doesn't really seem like it
Yeah.
puts you out your way that much. It's not like you're not homies with them, and they're like, "Oh, because I'm doing this, this, and this, and this, and that," and it definitely feels like an age thing or like and like a growth um thing. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, 100%. And it never will just stop there. I think that as we get older, there's different things we identify as scary to
yeah.
us. And I do think there's a difference between something being scary and something being a fear.
What's the difference?
When you're apprehensive towards when you're apprehensive towards
Mm,
something, and it's because of the way it will put you in life. Like, I mean, let's be real, growing up is scary. You don't know what's behind that door. You know, the future itself is scary. That a lack of knowledge towards it is hard to fight against.
yeah. It really is. I swear sometimes I'm like trying to force my brain to like peek into the veil of the future. I want to pry that door
Mhm.
open to see to like have that certainty and when I can't, it
Right.
annoys me so bad. Obviously I can't.
And I totally get that. I used to be obsessed with that. Like, I used to even I feel like honestly, bro, like one day we're gonna look back and time travel is gonna be real, and we're gonna be like, dang, we were
We were
dumb.
dumb.
But until that point, right? Until that point, I do want to point out that like as a kid, I used to try and like fast forward all the time. Like I used to close my eyes and like "Arr, arr," and see if I could like just jump to the future, and it would never work.
Dang.
But
Do you ever think you weren't trying hard enough?
I never stopped
I was
trying.
gonna say, you never stop
Yes, I
trying.
think it all the time. I think it all the time. I think maybe I just didn't do it right. And sometimes, like, I feel like really reminiscent about those times. And like, well, maybe I did it, but I just didn't go. I didn't transfer the information
Back,
back. Like, I one way streeted myself.
dude.
You know, shot myself a memory. But that's it. But that's another conversation. But in general, I think when something is scary,
Mhm.
it's scary because it's unfamiliar, or it's so familiar you know how it'll go. And either way it goes, that's undesirable
It
to you.
is.
But if it's a real fear, I think a lot of the times fear is it should be an evolutionary response. It's your body saying, "Hey, this is dangerous. Hey, this is something we're not like ready for. Well, let's go away." Fear is the thing that kept
Alive.
humans from being Neanderthals.
Yeah.
You know, like it's separated us. That fight or flight mechanic that comes from fear is so there. It's so in our faces. It's so necessary for the evolution of that next point. But I do think that we sometimes misuse fear in order to block ourselves from anything like real
Mhm.
almost. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Well, I think we do use fear to block ourselves
Like,
from something real. And like that's why when I'm almost scared of growing up like too fast because
mhm,
what if I stop being with when you lose but part of fear is also like curiosity. It's like the less you fear stuff, the more curious you get. What if I become more fearful when I'm older and less curious? And then I
mhm.
can't I won't I'll feel will I feel stagnated? Will I feel just fine with those fears? But um, I'm
Right.
scared that I won't grow after that point. But I guess that's my
And
apprehension. I'm not fearful of that. I'm just like, I don't want that.
I hear you. Like today,
Mhm.
right? I was I was worried that when we recorded, we wouldn't have enough to talk about. So I was like, well, let me just ask people on my story what their greatest fears are or what are some of their fears,
Mm.
right? And generally speaking, it were things like unfavorable conditions. Now there were a few funny ones. There were a few funny
Like
ones.
what?
Um there's two people who said niggas, and that was it. That was it. Two separate people who don't know each other, and one's a guy, one's a girl,
Oh my
and
god.
I really think that's just I really think it's interesting. But when it comes to like the actual things that people were
Mhm.
saying, right? Like there's just unfamiliarity and inconvenience. So there was this being all there is, being poor with children, being pregnant before you're 25, being
Yeah.
a single mother, not being successful and letting your family down,
Yes.
being in jail or homeless, being terminally ill, unlock potential you'll never reach, being vulnerable. These are all things that aren't really fears, they're just things that are so unfavorable. Well, I think that's what makes
I
it a
think that's
fear,
what makes it
but they're
fear.
just unfavorable.
Yeah, they're just
You know, like
unfavorable.
it's just
You're not used to
these
being in
suck.
that mode of life.
I don't want that.
Mhm.
Yeah. They're just I think those are undesirables. But I think the first step in conquering fear, which is what I'm really trying to lead to here, is admitting that a fear most times is not the thing that you don't want to do. It's the thing that you know if it happened, you would have to find a different way, and that's hard because you're used to a certain standard.
Mm.
And when you're talking about rewriting the curriculum of your learned life, it's the same thing as being a parent and you're trying to teach your child something you never learned in school. It's doubly hard because you have the information in your head that you already had, and now you have something telling you to rewrite this because this is incorrect. And you're like, well, what's the point of me knowing this in the first place? It makes you
Question.
question who you are and the decisions you make.
Absolutely.
And that's just I know that's a hard position to be in.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I cannot get over fear of homelessness. I heard that and I tweaked just a little bit. I am
Yeah.
pretty
You're
scared of
just
being
like, I
homeless.
do not
I
want
do
that.
not want
I
that.
am too, honestly.
I've been scared of that since I was a
I
kid too. Like it's not
it's
it's
scary.
scary.
It's not fun. It's something that especially living in Atlanta and being from Atlanta, I'm sure it's hard. Like, do you ever like face the reality that there's a good chance that the people we grew up with will face homelessness?
Well, now that you've said that, now I am.
I'm so sorry.
That's so
Oh
scary because
man.
in my head I see everyone as being successful in
Mhm.
the future. No one
Yeah.
no one in my circle I see failing in any pursuit that they go into. And like that's not reality, but I don't really see any reason why they would fail. And then to go from failing not only to failing but some of them being homeless, that's
Mhm.
terrifying. That feels defeating because I'm like, well, would I be able to help them? Would they be able to be helped? Yeah,
That's just that's a full thought, and I appreciate the fact that you allow compassion to be a part of that thought process.
absolutely.
Because for me, I'm like, dang, that's crazy. I hope that doesn't happen to me, and that's the end of my thought. But the fact that you thought, oh well, how can I help this person? Is this a situation that I could also remove them from? That's impressive to me. I think that's a genuinely good trait to have.
Well, thank you. I get paid
You know,
26.50 an hour to care about people. Yeah,
really?
I know, right?
Oh, clearly I'm in the wrong profession. I get paid like $20 an hour just to be a hater. So maybe,
That's
just maybe,
I thought
I
haters
should
were
switch
getting
it up.
much more money than that. Look at Kendrick.
Oh no, bro. We just do it for the love of the game.
Type.
We do it for the straight. We do it for the
I
straight love of
feel
the game.
that.
Like I'm a hater, not because it's befitting of my life or of my nature. I do it because it feels better to see you frown than it does to see you smile
All the time, every time.
all the time. I wake up in the morning, I look at your shoes, dirty.
Dirty.
I look at them clothes, lot of season. Your food, unseasoned. What's up with you?
Unseasoned. God, what's good? You like it plain,
What's good?
weirdo?
Oh
You know,
man,
and
yeah.
what I
It
think another part of fear, and is I think
mhm,
part of fear is being able to laugh off fear. And I think
gotta
part
be.
of fear is the act of doing something about your fear. Um, which is why I
Mhm,
think creative people um, fear not the results, but they fear the doing. I think that they fear that they're not going to get the result that they want, so they never try. Or at least that's how I feel. Because as a creative, as an artist, it's taken me so many failed projects to start finishing my projects
mhm.
because I was scared that if I finish this project, I wouldn't think of another project. Or if I finish this project, I don't won't like when the project is bad. But now I've got 100 projects that are bad, in my opinion, at least.
I get that. I get that. I think that as someone who was in a creative space, someone who's in a like when I was an engineering student,
Mm,
right? My biggest fear was a crap project. Not because I didn't know it was gonna be crap. It was gonna be crap every
every
time.
time.
It was hard. It was difficult. It was something that was forcing me to do something outside my space. So of course it was going to be bad.
Mm,
But for it to be unreasonably useless, for it to be like to the point where someone didn't want it, that fear I think was the strongest one, the hardest one for me to laugh about.
mm,
And I think as a model in that same headspace, being told no and being a second place, more than just a fear, it was almost a pet peeve of mine because I was like, I know this is good enough to be somewhere, but the fear of not being able to find that place lurks in your head.
yeah.
So I think that you're right. Being able to laugh about it is the medicine for it.
It's the only medicine if you're going to do it.
That's the only
Do
medicine.
you think that engineers have an issue do you think that engineers have an issue between being a dreamer and, I guess, a doer of their projects?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because engineers, especially like civil engineering, which was what I was studying, civil engineering is alongside things like architecture
Mhm.
in the sense that they're focusing on these large, usable structures that will outlast parts of society. You want that thing to be your thing. Pretty much everybody who comes into the STEM programs or into an artistic program has the intention of making a something. For you, it's a comic.
Facts.
You know, for me, it was housing solutions. For other people, it may be a bridge. For some people, it may be a movie. But point being, you come into a place with a goal in mind. So it's like you have that thought and you have that thought and you have that thought. But when does that thought become something more than just that?
I thought
When does it become a plan? When does it become a
a
step?
step,
When does it
a
become
discipline.
a done thing? You know, like that's the point, and that's the thing that I think a lot of people will lack. We find ourselves in the great divide, like you said, between being dreamers and being doers. And it comes from the fear of what is the end result of this. That unfamiliarity will hold you
It
back.
will hold you back.
And being like they really, really will. And the part that you must get over is the canyon between like not doing it and having done it. And when you make that leap, there's no going back. Like take ThinkSync for example. We finally posted.
Facts.
Guys, this is a great time to tell
Yeah.
y'all. Let's just take a time out. Welcome to Think Sync episode 2, guys. Today is October 29th. Shout out my mommy, it's her birthday. But more than that, we're 2 days away from Halloween, guys. It's 2024, and this is the second episode of season 1. The crazy thing is, guys, there are at least 9 episodes we have not posted.
Yeah.
We have so much that we just refuse to give you guys because it's not up to quality. Even just recording this took so much of our time. So when we say you have to make the leap, it's not because we don't make the leap. It's because we know the only way to make the only way to post something is to make the leap. The only way, like, oh my
The only way to
gosh.
expose it is to
And
make
when
the leap.
you exactly, exactly that. You're not gonna get anywhere just sitting on your butt. Even well, technically you are, because that's all we're doing. We're sitting on our butts and we're talking. But you're not gonna get anywhere from sitting on your butt and not moving.
Mm,
Like that's step one. Step one is to have the idea. Step two is to draw it up, write it down, do something with it, and formulate a plan. Step three, call up your homies. If you don't have homies, find homies, like a little mini step, 3.1, 3.5, you know what I'm saying? Find homies if you don't have homies. Step four, get your homies, form a production team, get it out the door. You know what I'm saying?
boom,
It's
bam.
just us, two guys who went to college together, who went to high school together, went to middle school together, trying to figure out a way. We didn't go to high school together, but trying to find out a way just to make things work. So that way we can make something else happen. And I think, guys, that is what ThinkSync is. We literally, these are thoughts, we combined them,
And you sync with
they
them.
synced up, we threw it out there. That's
That's
it.
it. It's a lot
That's it.
simpler when you do it, but when you're dreaming about it, it feels so far away. It feel this
Gosh,
felt kind
so
of
far
far.
away.
This felt kind of far away. Like I'm the type of person where I'll go through the motions, and I won't.
Yeah,
And once it looks like it's achievable, I'm turning up the engine. I'm cranking it to full throttle. It's just like, oh, okay, well, this wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. So what's doing it again? What's
facts.
doing it again? What's doing it again? And I like that. I like
Facts.
that
And I think
process.
even go ahead. Yes, like I think even today we saw that. We saw what it was like to want it to come out, but it just not working.
Mm,
Like even in our previous takes today, we had to really, really lock in.
we really did.
And we locked in, but even like the beginning of this episode, I feel like it's a little bit slower compared. But I think that's just a part of the process. But man, a year ago today, a year ago today, we were on the balcony and we were complaining into our phones and we were just talking and talking for 10 minutes at a
Yuck.
time, just being mad, just
Just
being
being
mad because
mad.
things weren't going the way we wanted them to.
Literally.
We were like, yo, this is the worst month ever. Can't get a break anywhere.
Not in October.
Like, not in October. October
October
sucked.
sucked.
October sucked.
Mm,
Dude, did October suck. And even though October sucked, the worst part about October is that it just didn't feel like it was going to end. I feel like October is secretly the longest month of the year, and it just no one tells us.
yeah. Yeah. Literally. 31
I
days?
paid bills twice this month.
Twice?
How do you pay bills
Good
twice?
Lord.
How do you pay
I
bills
didn't
twice?
even
Like
know
I
that
was
was
sitting here and
legal.
I was thinking about something like, did I just pay my bill twice? Like I know. I just like I was arguing on the phone with my internet people
Mm,
today because I'm like, I just paid this bill. You're not gonna sit here and lie to me and tell me I didn't pay this
right.
bill. But oh man, those guys were gaslighters. Don't even get
They
me
were
started on them.
gaslighters.
But
They were like, "No, you didn't. No, you didn't pay us. You need to pay us more.
you
Actually,
give me your
give me
money.
your
Like,
money."
yo, that's not fair. That's just not fair.
It's really not.
But I want us to focus back up. We just did this thing where we kind of went kind of generally specific and then we went into more general space. Now I want to get a bit more specific
Mm,
now. Um, as an artist, as a podcaster now, as just someone who's always been in the space of creation, Rich, what was your method and what was your mindset about just getting past this point? Like, how did you yourself,
mm,
you know what I'm saying? Like, how do I put this? Just how did you get out of the
mhm.
aimlessness that you kind of lurk in when you're trying to start?
Aimlessness is such an interesting topic because, like, I think that aimlessness comes in seasons and it comes in waves. As you start as you think about new ideas and you start new ideas, um, I I dealt with aimlessness when I was first when I was going to college and I was starting my foundations classes. Those foundation classes are like brain rot. Like, especially for me, who's been an artist basically since like middle school, a lot of things that I was learning or doing were very not what I wanted to do. They were not contributing to me learning the crafts that would push me to be a better artist. So I was like, well, is making comics really something I can do? Is storyboarding really an avenue that I can take
Mhm,
in film and animation? Like, what would I do? I think aimlessness comes down to doing some doing something without the goal, doing something just because, but expecting results. And if you're expecting results out of something you didn't really set goals
mhm,
for, or expecting results for something that you didn't fully commit time to, then I think you're gonna feel aimless. Like, okay, I have a story that I've been writing. I've been writing I've been on the production of two stories that I'm producing, and for my story, I felt aimless because there was literally no plot. It was just guys doing stuff, which is cool and it can have an audience, but what's the point? They
mhm,
felt aimless. They felt like they were just getting scenarios thrown at them and they were not learning anything. Even though this felt like a story where they should have been learning something, where things in the world should have been progressing. Um, and I think only reason why I got out of aimlessness is because I started really investing. How did I get out of aimlessness? It's a good question. Because even right now, I think as we speak, I'm aimless in a sense, but it's because I'm so sure of my
mhm.
goal and I'm so unsure about the world. Like I don't know
What do you mean?
where my life as the peeking through the veil of the future is impossible. I don't know my life or where kind of the world is going to go, and if it's going to be ready for to take in my ideas, to take in my or able to receive the things that I want to give it. You know, if the world has grown past this point of
Mhm,
needing artists, of needing creatives to bridge people together, then what's the point in still doing it? Should I still do it? Um, think a lot of I think
mhm.
aimlessness comes from yourself, but it also comes from extenuating factors. And some people, when they feel aimless, they completely pivot. They change a different direction. One of my friends who started, well, acquaintances, fallen off. They started off as a sequential arts major. I think within the first year, they switched to psychology. Shocking, because I was like, your art's really good. You could have made it, but why be a comic artist when you saw something different? You saw a different way, a more fulfilling way, and a different path. Versus me,
Right.
who, to my detriment, I am someone that doubles down. When something feels like it's uncertain, find a way to make it as certain as it possibly can. And that helps curve my aimlessness as a creative, and I end up getting more ideas because I want to find ways of 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 infusing more life into my products, into making it better received, or and making it more fun for myself. Because sometimes it can be aimless, but if it's fun, sometimes it's just fun. I love drawing Spider-Man. I don't. It's not like I'm gonna be a Spider-Man comic artist. I mean, I could. Hey, Marvel, you can
Yeah.
start me off at $16 an hour.
Hey, Marvel.
Not even wait. They don't do by the hour. You can start me off at $16 a page. I'll cook. I will I would make so
You would
little
make
money,
so little
like,
money.
it would make bad money,
Oh
especially if
my
I'm inking
god.
it and coloring it. Yeah,
Wow.
no, actually, don't give me that job.
Nah,
Could I
I
get
charge by
$100
the
a page,
panel.
please?
Not gonna hold you. Yeah, like that would not even come close. Like immediate figuring that out. Like that's not negotiable. But I hear you. I actually really appreciate that take. I think that I get that. I get that.
Mhm.
And I mean that seriously. Like I feel like in a world that's forever changing and developing and growing, there's always the question, does my contribution like still qualify as contribution
Yeah,
when the day is over? Did I grow this plant to feed my house and the apple orchard just started being ready to harvest 10 minutes away from me? Like the question of is this valuable is always going to lurk in our minds. And especially in the creative space where
Everything's a trend.
everything is a trend. Everything is about setting a standout point. And with the development of these like quick one-stop shops that have popped up all over the internet, such things like TikTok
Hmm.
Reels, YouTube Shorts, things like that, we are finding out that our attention spans are shortening by the second. And because of this, we're finding ourselves in these increasingly large and larger and larger echo chambers of just aimlessness. But more than that, we're now seeing people creating content specifically for the aimless.
Do like edits and inspiration porn
Like
and
we're
stuff.
seeing those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we have things like
What is?
Hopecore. What the Hopecore? Hopecore. You mean to tell me we're so sad, we're so depressed that we have to now funnel smiles on our face? But mind you, that's something that's not obviously uncommon. Like there's always been
Right.
videos of like puppies kissing kittens and stuff like
Oh,
that. They're cute, aw, but montages of them all over the place. Now that makes me aware, critically aware, acutely aware that we are headed towards an era of unfocus. And if that is the case, as both an intellectual and a creative, I hope and I aspire to be part of the arrowhead that
absolutely.
leads us towards a direction. And I think that's the step, and at least a step, not maybe the step in developing that consciousness towards it. Like we go on Instagram and you go on YouTube, and if you just look up your fear
It'll
of blah
pop
blah
up.
blah is
Oh
holding you
my
back, it'll
gosh.
pop
I've
up.
been seeing that a lot on my YouTube too. I'm like,
It will
mm,
pop up. And
I don't need it.
especially on your YouTube. And you know what? I won't even lie. Those videos are awesome. Like there's some people who do them, and there was this one girl, I forget her name, but it was like she did a whole video on her iPhone talking about your fear of doing this is holding you back. I'm this person, and I've recorded this, and I've recorded that, and I do this, and I do that, and I never posted them because I'm hypercritical of what it looks like. And I'm not gonna lie, it'd be a lie to say that it did not inspire me to at least consider and call Rich and be like, hey, are you still
Hmm.
down to do things sync? You know? And I think that we were the some of the lucky ones who didn't get so hindered by the thought of what's next, particularly because there's two of
Yeah.
us instead of just
Especially
one,
that.
you know?
Especially having a
But
community around you is gonna help you do your projects.
I it will. It definitely will because what's any kind of art without a following behind it? If you could be Picasso. If you were Picasso in this time right now and no one knew who you were and you just started showing people your
Yeah.
paintings, they would look
But
at
I'm
you like you're
Picasso. What
crazy.
does that mean?
And what does that mean? This is just abstract art. That means abstract art without someone to
Yeah,
explain it to you gets really difficult to
literally.
understand. Picasso was a master of the abstract.
Excuse me.
So it's like, does it matter? Answer is yes. But in what spaces is the like fine point?
Excuse me. I it
Those
was a burp,
sneezes.
I think. Yeah, I have silent burps.
What?
Do I have to try
Nah.
again or something? What?
Nah. Nah, I don't want it. I don't
I
no.
breathe in and I breathe out and I burp.
That's wild, man. There's just some things you don't expect to hear. But I want to touch on maybe a few more, like literally one,
Okay.
maybe two more topics before we close this out. Well, honestly, just this last one, but it's not a topic. It's actually a quote, and it's by Franklin Roosevelt, FDR, and it's literally just the
Fear
quote:
itself.
"There is nothing to fear but fear itself." Right? And if you remember when he said that, you're a real one. But basically, it's just him talking. Like I want to say he said it during a World War, one of his speeches. He was known for being the orator he was, but he said it in a turbulent time. He said it because people were scared of war. They were scared of how things were going and how everything was kind of going downhill in the States. And I agree, like, especially in today's times, like, I feel like more and more are we pressed to consider the future of both the country and our families and
Yeah,
our, like, just our lives. Will this be the same America
that's a
by November
question. It's a
6th?
hard question.
That's a question.
Scary question.
and it's not one so easily answered. However, where there
Mm,
is effort, there is
mm.
effect.
Write that down. Mm, mm.
Ah, quote of the day. Heard.
I'm posting it.
Heard. Didn't expect that one. Gonna keep going though. But literally, where there is effort, there is effect. So, guys, I say this as both a plea and just in recognition of what a time this is. If you are concerned with your future, act upon it. If you are interested and intrigued in
Do it.
doing something unique to you, do it. If you have friends around you and family around you who are willing to support you in your ideas, if you have even voices in your head who are telling you to push that button and go
Lean on
crazy,
them,
not literally, do it
please.
and seek psychiatric help as well. But still, try. And if you don't succeed, look back at that formula, see what's different. But guys, we're gonna end it here. We're gonna end it here because I want you to think about this. I want you all to absorb that, and maybe next time you guys will put
I
some
would love to
effort
see
in
it.
as well.
And this is Rich.
This is Zeke.